Hi all, dear friends. Today I have the huge pleasure of having with me Mr. Yifan He. Yifan, welcome.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here.
It's actually my honor to have you today on my podcast, Digital Tomorrow. And for those of you listeners who might not know Yifan yet, Yifan He is the founder and CEO of Red Date Technology, which is the architect firm behind BSN. And we're going to talk about BSN later. So if you don't know yet what BSN is, stay tuned for this episode. Yifan is also a serial entrepreneur and investor. Mr. He founded his first internet company when he was in college in 1998 in the US, and he spent more than 10 years in private equity and finance in China. Mr. He graduated from SUNY at Stony Brook with a computer science degree and an MBA from MIT. So, as you can see, he's a person who knows about tech, about economics, who's been in the US, in China, and of course he's behind BSN. So he's like the perfect guest for our podcast. So without further ado, I'm going to proceed by asking a few questions and discussing some topics with Yifan. First of all, I'm going to start from the very beginning, which is your personal journey. Looking at your fantastic biography, which we just summarized, we can see that you founded, as I said, Red Tech, which is the firm behind BSN. But can you please tell the listeners what made you decide to create a Red Date after spending more than 10 years in traditional finance, in private equity in China? What made you make this leap to go back more to the tech world, to the blockchain area?
Okay. So it's actually I'm myself. I consider myself as a very serious entrepreneur. Okay, so that's my nature. Doing finance and doing investment is my side job. so it's because the reason why I want to create my own company and do something is really because as an investor you only invest into other people's company, and encourage them to do something great. But be an entrepreneur myself, which means I can create something great. So that's the difference between those two jobs. So, but myself, I still consider myself as an entrepreneur, and the investment is a side job.
I see. I see. Well, thanks for sharing this. I mean, undoubtedly, you are very involved right now in the blockchain area. So, how do you think that blockchain can improve our societies?
Okay, so first, I want to emphasize, something I always emphasize when I talk to people. It's what we really see the greatness of blockchain is it's a new way to communicate. It's a new way to communicate data, transfer data between different IT systems. So personally, I don't care about the blockchain. Okay, what I care about is the underlying technology of blockchain. So if you ask people what's blockchain, what's the most important aspect of blockchain technology, most people will say consensus. So many IT system people can reach a consensus on a blockchain system. So, but what we really say is not the consensus; it's the way to communicate. Because for internet, right? What internet is basically connecting all the PCs and the servers in the world. It becomes the internet. But how the internet communicate? It's basically built upon the communication between two IT systems. Link two by two, then it forms the internet. For example, if one system, for example, if you go to a website, it's basically you type HTTP, the domain name, then it basically build a connection between your PC and the server. Then those two IT systems can communicate. But which means if you have some, because our society become more and more complicated, there are so many processes involved more than two IT systems. So even with regular internet, it still goes through one by one. It could be, for example, a scenario involve more than 10 IT systems. How you communicate among those 10 IT systems is basically from, it could be a one centralized system connected to other 9, or it could be you send the data to the first 2, then they pass on. So it's very, very not efficient enough. So what blockchain is to build a broadcasting network among those 10 IT systems. So when one IT system sends out data, none receive immediately, and the most important is they know each other receive the data. And when anyone feedback, it's not only go back to me, it's go back to everybody. So it actually build a much, much powerful communication method or network. It's like the regular phone call or conference call. Why we need a conference call when we have multiple people? Because it's much more efficient. Mm-hmm. So which means this means the blockchain, why they can reach consensus easily, because there's a more powerful communication protocol there. So make multiple IT systems to communicate in a much, much more efficient way. So this is why I think it's the most important technology within the blockchain. So that means, basically it's how this will change the world next is because it will enable all the IT system has a much better communication to talk to each other in the world, around the world. So that make, all the IT system much, much more efficient. For example, transfer money. You don't need to go through 10 IT systems across different countries. You basically, it can reach the other people's account in 2 seconds. So that's why, the communication will become much more efficient. I mean, it's like we have internet or not have internet. What's the difference? The communication become more efficient. Now we have a much better protocol to enable more than 2 IT systems to communicate even better. So that's why I think it's how the blockchain technology will change the world.
I see. Well, thanks for sharing. I can see that your key point was related to making communications more efficient, and that's something very interesting to hear. And actually, still talking about blockchain, but focusing now on China. Well, to me, China is one of the most active countries when it comes to promoting the use of blockchain, to the point that back in 2019, President Xi Jinping in a speech mentioned that companies needed to seize the opportunities offered by blockchain, because China is aware that as a technology, it's going to be very important, groundbreaking in the years to come. So following these thoughts, what do you think that China is doing well in the blockchain area compared to other countries from Asia or from other parts of the world?
Okay, so basically, if we talk about blockchain plus China, we have to mention 2 things. First, the cryptocurrency is totally gone in China. Okay, anyone trading cryptocurrency is illegal, and also public chain is also illegal in China, because any IT system for people to connect to in China require KYCs, because we cannot do KYC on public chain, so public chain is also illegal in China. So in China, we basically focus on the permission blockchain, or we call the enterprise blockchain. So, I mean, for the public chain, it's basically a marketplace for you to trade in cryptocurrencies, all the DeFi, everything is around cryptocurrency. But for enterprise blockchain, it's basically what's just said. It's enable IT system to communicate in a much better way. So that's why it's the focus of China in blockchain is totally different than the outside world. The most people outside China is basically focused on how to build the public chain ecosystem and how to build applications around cryptocurrency. But in China, we focus on the enterprise blockchain and how to make IT system in different legal entity to communicate much better, to share data much better, to basically create a better decentralized database system.
Well, thank you for sharing. I mean, it's a different approach compared to other countries, but it's interesting to hear more about it. And well, I think that following this, following blockchain in China, we need to talk, of course, about BSN. Earlier, before in my podcast, when I introduced you, Yifan, to the audience, I mentioned that you were the architect behind the BSN, and I said that we were going to talk about this later. So now is the time. No, I mean, BSN stands for a blockchain-based service network. No, but what's exactly that? Can you please let our listeners know a bit more about it, because it's a fascinating project. No, so yeah.
So basically, first, the BSN is not a blockchain. So everybody think, BSN is a blockchain. It's not. BSN is a specialized cloud environment. So basically, it's why we even build a BSN is we want to build a cloud environment to enable all the IT system to enjoy this kind of broadcasting way to communicate data. So that's why, but right now, if you are in a regular cloud environment, for example, AWS or Microsoft, you go there. If you want to build something like a blockchain system, it's very, very difficult, because their cloud system doesn't support blockchain, which means if you need set up the virtual machines, you need manually set up all the peers, link them together, in different cloud, and it takes a lot of time to build a blockchain system within the regular clouds. So because we believe eventually the blockchain will become another layer on internet to handle the broadcasting communication among multiple systems. So that's why we need a specialized cloud environment, which means you need to manage the virtual machines to fit into how to build a blockchain system more efficient. When you build a permission chain, or how you build different peers in different clouds and link them together, become a permission chain by click a button. So which means, especially when you in one cloud, and if you build hundreds different blockchain application based on public chain, based on the permission chain, then you basically, if you don't have a special tool, you basically repeatedly to waste a lot of resources to install something, repeatedly, which means it's, for example, the certificate authority. Within one cloud, you can only have one, but now if you build 100 different permission chain, you install the certificate authority 100 times more, and they don't even communicate with each other. So which means if we really believe in the blockchain will become next layer of the internet, then we need a specialized cloud software or environment to manage that in a most efficient way and the low cost way. So that's why we build BSN. BSN is a cloud software. We install that into different cloud services and the data centers or IDEs. It create a virtual data center specialized in managing blockchain systems and the components. Then with those virtual data center installed in all the data center, link them together, becomes the BSN. And we consider that a specialized cloud layer on the internet and across all the major cloud services. So when you build a blockchain application on BSN, it's much, much easier. You can choose different cloud and a different framework and click the button, then it's built for you. So basically that's what BSN is. But so that's why we have 3 layers on BSN. The first layer, like I said, we basically cross all the major cloud services. So it's the cloud layer. So we don't build our own data center. We use existing data centers and the cloud services. So then on each data center, on each cloud or IDE or data center, we install our software to build a virtual data center. So that's the first layer. The second layer is within each virtual data center, we install all the blockchain technologies, permission chain, public chain nodes, interchain services, and unified gateway, unified certificate authorities. So basically build an environment supports all the major blockchain technology. And the third layer is portals, because we building a cloud infrastructure, but we don't build portals. In each country, you can build a portal to serve your own users in that country. So this portal actually is a blockchain as a service, website. So when you build that, you don't need to build the back end. We provide APIs to you. Those portals just call the API and deploy their chains, open up the public chain access accounts, or deploy smart contract on some existing chains. Everything can be done through the portal. But the portal, they manage their own user. We don't have any user information on BSN because everything managed in each portal. So we basically build the environment for those portals to access and provide services to end user. So three layers: portal layer, blockchain layer, and the cloud layer becomes the BSN environment.
I see. It's very interesting to hear about this three-layered structure. And I wanted to ask you as well, so what do you hope to achieve with BSN, let's say in a few years from now? Like, what's your final goal if everything keeps working as well as it is until now?
The goal is very big. We basically want to build one more layer on internet. What's the internet right now? It's actually the cloud software to install into each and link them together, become the internet, right? What's the internet? It's all the cloud software linking together on different machines become internet. So what we want to do is eventually we will open source BSN software, so everybody can build their blockchain virtual data center within their server, and all the virtual data center linked together become another layer on internet to specially handle the decentralized application, blockchain system, and the broadcasting protocol in the future. So basically our goal is to build one more layer on internet to make multiple IT systems to communicate in a much more efficient way than the regular internet.
I see. Well, I mean, that's an ambitious goal, of course, but based on what you told me, it looks like you are succeeding now. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, we just began it, but eventually this whole thing has no commercial value because it will be open source. Everybody can build their portal. Everybody can build their virtual data center. Eventually, BSN will become a public infrastructure. Not a lot of commercial value. It's like the Tomcat, the web server, the HTTP protocol. It's just for free. Everybody use it, link them together, become internet. So that's our goal. Our goal is to build, but we still call this internet, but it's a new layer. The current layer handles 2x2 communication. We want to build one more layer to handle the more than 2 IT systems to communicate in a broadcasting way.
And what's the adoption of a BSN so far outside China, for example? Because I read that some Korean firms, I think, join BSN, but is it something that you think you are succeeding so far in trying to export it outside China?
Yes. Because like we said, like I said, it's we want to build one more layer on internet. So it definitely is a global project. If we only build this inside China, it's the intranet. It's not the internet.
Yes.
So that's why we reach out to all the potential partners, in different countries. So actually each partner actually join one of the layers. There's a cloud partner. It's like AWS, some small clouds, and Microsoft, Google in China. We actually working with all the cloud services, and also we have many partners working on the blockchain layer. We have like a consensus. We're working together. Digital assets. We have public chain partners. We have permission chain partners. So integrate everybody into this, and also we have portal partners. For example, we just launched the portal in Korea. We have a local partner there. They build they build the portal front end, they manage all the users, they promote it, they do marketing there, working with us. And we have portal in Turkey, right? They build a bus in Turkish language, and with the payments, with the local payment methods, so their user can enjoy that website much better than an international website. So that's our local portal partner. So we have partners in different layers, but eventually with this definitely is a global project, and eventually all those partners can freely to integrate their services, and they can set up their virtual data center freely, they can set up their portal freely after we open source.
I see. No, I mean, it's a truly global project indeed. And I wanted to ask you now about, one topic that I find fascinating, which is central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, and more especially the Digital Yuan. It's a topic about which I've been doing extensive research these last 2 years and giving many webinars on it. And I wanted to share some thoughts first. I mean, I think one of the key areas in the future of CBDCs is going to be that of interoperability. So do you think we will see in the future an actual interoperability between CBDCs, and how will we get there?
Okay. First, myself, I believe in digital currency. Okay, I don't believe in cryptocurrency. Okay, I think it's a financial institute, not regulated. So, but I truly believe in central bank digital currency, even stablecoin as a payment method. Okay, not the trading stuff. It's a payment, because I think that will, just like the BSN we build, try to make the communication more efficient. Digital currency will make the payment and the transfer much more efficient. So it's definitely next step of our money system. Okay, so but just like you said, why we need the interoperability. Let's use the example of SWIFT. Why we need SWIFT? Why we even need SWIFT? Because each commercial bank has its own account system. So there's like 10,000 different banks in the world, and each of them has their own account system, which means this account within this commercial bank is not recognizable by another commercial bank in another country. They have no idea who is that account, even that account number they don't recognize. That's why you need SWIFT. SWIFT is an interoperability protocol based or network to connect different account systems in the different commercial bank in different countries. So that's why we need SWIFT. Same thing, when we have central bank digital currency, it will have its own account system. The Chinese Digital Yuan has definitely its account system. Okay, when I have one, it's my Chinese ID number. And my Chinese ID number is not recognizable by the US, digital US dollar in the future, the system. So that means there will definitely something like SWIFT to connect different central bank digital currencies. Actually, that's some project we are working on too with some banks, and also, but it's not related to BSN. It's an independent project. We trying to build a SWIFT for digital currency systems, including stablecoins. So it's very important. It's definitely the future. If we probably will make the announcement in 2 or 3 months. So it will become a major project. We are really honored to join that kind of global project. It's not a Chinese project. It's Reddit is the only Chinese company who can join because we build BSN. We have the expertise to build part of the infrastructure. So we are working with some large banks and also large European tech companies and American tech companies. So we build this together. So it's definitely the future. And personally, I'm very aggressive in this. I believe in 10 years, more than half of the transaction will be in digital currency. More than half. Okay. So it will make. Just remember, digital currency is so powerful. It's not only make the transfer and the payment much more efficient, it's also you hold your own money. Okay, this is very, very important. Right now, where is your money right now? It's in the commercial bank. I mean, it's just a balanced number. You don't control your number. The commercial bank, they move your money to give loans to some, company, and they make profit of your money, but you have no control. You only see a number in your balance. But with digital currency, you own your own wallet. You control your own money. It actually changes the entire way. And also, all those central bank digital currency accounts will belong to the central bank. It's no longer in the commercial. So it basically changed all the financial infrastructure, how the commercial bank will manage money. If they want to manage your money, they need to offer you a much better interest. Then they can control your money. You can give them some control. Otherwise, you control your money. I mean, think about like this kind of large corporation like Apple. They have like 800 billion cash in different commercial banks in different countries right now. And when they want to move money, they have connect to the commercial bank system and move money there. But remember, if everything becomes digital currency, they actually can build a very large system to directly manage all their wallets in different countries, in different central bank system. Remember, then they can build this system so complicated. They can give loans to their customer. They can give credits. They can give credits to their supplier. So they actually become a bank. I mean, when the digital currency, central bank digital currency becomes so popular, the commercial bank will see a lot of competitions from the players they never thought would be their competitor. I mean, those large corporations, they will manage their own money. They don't need a commercial bank to manage their money anymore. So it will change how the money moves. It will change how the loan is made. It basically changes everything.
No, I mean, it sounds much more efficient, and it sounds, of course, that it's going to reshape, the whole world of payments, like for sure. Yeah. And you mentioned as well that commercial banks will be affected, by that. So I mean, I guess that they will need to readapt, Because, yes.
Yeah, but it won't kill commercial bank. Remember, what's the main function of commercial bank is to provide services to individuals. So eventually, the individuals still need a commercial bank to provide end user services. But the commercial bank will change their business model. Okay, they need to change their business model, they change their service model, basically change everything. So that's why I really encourage all the commercial banks to do research right now, starting right now.
No, I mean, I agree. I think that commercial banks need to be active right now, and in order not to be left behind. So I don't think they will all disappear or anything like that. But if they stick to the past, they may, of course, be in trouble in the years to come.
Exactly. All the bank I talk to is build a team to do research on digital currency.
It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. I also wanted to ask you, do you think BSN can play a role in facilitating the blockchain usage in China with its digital yuan or stable coins? Is there a role for BSN to play in that area?
Yes, but let me say this: most of central bank digital currency will be a centralized system, not decentralized. Okay, because it's definitely most of them will central. But the circulation of the currency mostly will based on the decentralized system. So because BSN is an infrastructure. So, which means we open to all the currency system, all the financial institutions to build, environments or tools or platform on BSN to circulate the digital currencies. So for that, BSN, we believe in 5 years will be the best infrastructure to do that for any digital currencies.
I see. Then, well, as you know, the digital yuan was tested in Hong Kong earlier this year, especially for cross-border payments, which is, of course, a key idea when it comes to the future use of the digital yuan. I just wanted to ask you whether the BSN architecture was used somehow on those tests, or it wasn't used yet.
Not yet. Because right now the digital yuan is a very, very closed system. It doesn't allow any third party, IT system to connect to them besides except the commercial bank system. So right now, only commercial bank system can connect to it. So we wait one day they will open up their APIs. And of course, you will be licensed to connect to the digital yuan system, but we believe in probably need another 2 or 3 years, for third-party system to connect to it.
I see. That sounds great. I wanted to talk as well about one very interesting project that China is currently engaged in, and that one is the Belt and Road Initiative. I think that the Belt and Road, alongside the Greater Bay Area, are like one of the most promising projects that China is currently working on. So I wanted to ask you, what role do you think that the Belt and Road can have in the future of both BSN on one side and then Digital Yuan as well? I mean, do you think it can be the perfect area for you to try to expand the BSN, for China to expand Digital Yuan in parallel, no? Or it's not such a big focus for you, the Belt and Road?
So right now, actually, when we expand BSN right now, it's first step is actually with the build and roll countries. Because it's they are close to China, it's easier to talk to them, and we have business relationship and economic relationship, political relationship already. So it's much easier to expand BSN there. So that's actually our strategy this year and the next year. Okay, to build. Of course, we also plan to build the BSN portals in Australia and the UK. So it's not only, but that's one build and one row countries where we think easier. Because for Chinese projects, sometimes it's not very friendly, to the Western countries. So, but for digital yuan, it will take much longer to expand to countries, even for the one build one row countries. Okay, so it's because it's a legal tender. It's a legal tender. It's just for example, if Singapore want to accept the digital yuan, they need some agreements between those two central banks, and they need to build the digital yuan system within their commercial banks. So just for that, it will take at least years, 2 or 3 years to even build that system. So that means, for digital yuan, Hong Kong is easier, okay? But for other country, it will take. Personally, I also think at least 3 years, to some agreement between central banks. And remember how to move that digital yuan. For example, Singapore central bank probably need to use US dollar to buy digital yuan to them, and then circulate within Singapore. It's a little bit ironic.
Yes, I see. I wanted to ask you as well about. This is not, I don't want to discuss politics or anything like that, but do you think that, how to put it, these last few years were a bit bumpy, there was that trade war and everything. So do you think that, let's say, political instability that we saw these last few years, worldwide, may affect the adoption of BSN in the future? Because you mentioned, for example, that it's of course easier not to try to expand BSN into the Belt and Road countries, which are much more, politically speaking, friends with China than maybe certain countries in the West. So do you think in the end the technology will prevail? I mean, people will realize that no matter where this technology comes from, it's actually the adequate technology to use? Or do you foresee any kind of, I'm not going to say problem, but perhaps longer process in that area?
I totally understand. Right now, if you ask me what's the biggest problem for BSN, biggest challenge for BSN, I say it's basically the political, because BSN is the Chinese project, so many countries, they say, okay, it's a Chinese project, let's not use it. But like you said, I truly believe technology will eventually prevail. Okay, why? Because as long as a increase the efficiency and decrease the cost. Eventually, people see the benefit and will use it. Okay, and we believe in open source. Eventually, it will be open source. So it's like internet. I mean, back in 90s, 1995, 93, the Chinese government also say, okay, do we need to adopt this foreign technology? Okay. It's totally controlled by American, the IP address, everything. So do we need to adopt that? Eventually, the technology prevailed. The Chinese, the China adopted the internet. It brings so much value, social value, and increase so much social value through internet in past 30 years. But China also built a way to regulate internet by its own ways. So it's personally, I think technology will eventually prevail, no matter what's the political conflicts, the environment is. Eventually technology always prevails, but it takes longer.
I understand. No, I mean, I hope so. I hope it prevails, because in the end it's all about making our lives much more more comfortable and making everything much more efficient. So regardless of where a technology comes from, if it makes everything easier for us, we need to adopt that. That's what I feel.
Yes. But also at the same time, we need to follow an international standard in technology. If you build everything with Chinese standard, probably it will never be used by other countries. But if we follow the international standard, for example, open source, make everything more transparent, consider all the legal structure in different countries, then, as long as you follow the international standard, it will eventually be adopted by other countries. As long as, like you said, make people's life more comfortable, everything move more smoothly, more efficiently, then it will prevail.
Hope so. Now I wanted to ask you some predictions before wrapping this up, because I think that you already walked us through BSN quite in detail, so we got to learn a bit more about what it is, how it works. So I wanted to ask you, first of all, now that we're about to enter 2022, if you could share with us some of the biggest challenges that red date technology is facing for the foreseeable future, your major challenges or concerns. Of course, I mean, anything you can disclose in public. No, I mean, I'm not asking for anything too confidential. No, just general ideas.
Okay. So our plan for next year, the first major project is we will launch on BSN China. We will launch NFT infrastructure. We call that subnet of BSN China. So it's a pretty complicated project, but we want to build the environment for people to create NFTs much easier. They can, so that's, but the biggest challenge right now in China is still the understanding the blockchain technology. So right now it's like in the 1992 of the internet. So nobody understands what blockchain is. It's always like a cryptocurrency else. They don't understand how they can leverage the blockchain technology to make their IT system more efficient. Right now, probably only 1% of the IT people understand this. So we need to continue to push the awareness to make more and more people understand this. Just like in the 90s, for people to understand internet. In 1995, most people never even used the computer. How could they even understand internet? Just like now. So we push. And internationally, the biggest challenge is the political, conflict right now. So it make, many companies, they really like BSN, but they worry about by working with us. Sometimes it could be problem for them. So it's but we will expand internationally next year into more countries, and also in China we will build more tools and integrate more cloud services, integrate more blockchain technology, and open up more portals on internet in China and internationally.
No, actually, this problem that you mentioned now about blockchain, I think it's not only in China. No, I think it's like a global problem that whenever you talk about blockchain to any kind of audience, I mean, unless they are like blockchain experts, they normally tend to think that you are just talking about cryptos. And I know that, of course, cryptos are very famous, or maybe the most famous application. But then when you start talking about how a bank might apply blockchain as a technology, they think you are just trying to sell them cryptocurrencies. No, when you are actually talking about how that technology can, can make their processes more efficient, more, faster without like needing to use cryptos or anything like that. No, so I think that's a global problem, not just in China.
And that's why we need programs like this, to increase the awareness.
And yeah, I mean, when it comes to the political one, I think it's what we said before. No, I mean, we need to. I think that by like the more people start using BSN, the more they will realize that if as a technology it's useful for them, it doesn't matter where it comes from, because as you said, you're following like every international standard. So I think it's all about people, countries starting to use it and realizing that it's actually beneficial for them to do so.
Yes, I believe so.
And now, before actually wrapping this up, I wanted to ask you like for your predictions for 2022, but not like your company's predictions. I'm just talking about, in the CBDC area, NFT area, Metaverse, anything like. What do you foresee will happen this coming year? Because as we know, 2021 was a bit bumpy. I mean, we saw this rise in cryptos, NFTs started to become like hype. So what do you foresee for this coming year?
Okay. So I think next year we will have much better definition of metaverse. Right now it's a little bit vague, what's metaverse. So I believe that will be the virtual reality, digital assets, and also blockchain. But all those things will be built partially on blockchain. So that's why blockchain is so important, because for this kind of metaverse, they need to connect as many IT systems as possible to share data and share connections. So blockchain is the best technology right now. Also, we will see more CBDCs. Okay, so we are also talking with some central banks. It seems next year we will see some project is some central bank digital currency will be released, and some major country will begin to build their central bank digital currency next year. So I think next year will be the most important year for central bank digital currency. Okay, and another one is with the more and more people understanding the blockchain technology. So we will see more and more user case in the enterprise blockchain area, not only cryptocurrency. So, and also NFT technology will go beyond those kind of art. It will use like account management, and like real estate and somewhere. So not only just art, just to sell it, to do the speculation, that kind of stuff. So it will be used, the NFT technology will be used in some real user case, to manage personal data in a much better way.
Well, thank you very much for sharing those. I think that 2022 is going to be fascinating, even more than 2021. And I think that following what we said before, technologies are not like good or bad per se. It all depends on how we people use them. So exactly. This applies to anything. I mean, to blockchain, to artificial intelligence. So it's all about applying them like properly.
Totally agree.
So I think that concludes our very interesting discussion, Yifan. I would like to thank you once again for coming to my podcast. I'm honored to have you here today. Hearing from you is actually amazing. To learn more about BSN, etc. It's been fascinating. So I would like to thank you very much for your time.
It's also my pleasure to be here. Yeah.
Well, so thank you again, and thank you all dear listeners for attending this short podcast, and stay tuned for the next episodes. Bye bye.
Yeah.